Enemies hold more warp gates.
Engage.
Allies hold more warp gates. Allies hold more warp gates. Enemies hold more warp gates.
Absorbing projectiles.
Enemies hold more warp gates.
Enemy down.
Enemies hold more warp gates.
Significant damage. Absorbing projectiles.
Allies hold more warp gates.
Drop in like flies. You got recycled. Ducking out. Ready.
Allies hold more warp gates. Enemy Titan deployed. Enemy Titan deployed.
Cyber shot taken. Swift.
Enemy code more warp gates.
Engage.
Barriers gone.
I need assistance.
Enemy equipped to be detected.
Objective captured.
Titan discharged. Enemy Titan deployed.
Barriers gone.
Another busted paycheck.
with the growing reality of a government-backed digital currency. The time to act is now. So call or text the number on your screen. Your free secret war report.
Battle contract found. Prepare to warp. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Warp on.
Power up available.
Well, folks, welcome to Stitchfield. The Trump assassin, the second one, 0 for 2. He couldn't kill President Trump, but apparently he couldn't kill himself. Yes, Ryan Ruth, after hearing his guilty verdict for trying to kill President Trump, using a firearm and all those things, he tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen or a pencil. And Bayless jumped in to try to stop him from doing that. This is how it went down in the courtroom.
Now, it is quite shocking. As the verdict was read, it appeared to our producers inside the courtroom that Ruth tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen.
You're the individual of power.
Four marshals dragged him out of the courtroom, took his coat off. They then shackled him at the waist and ankles, and then they brought him back into the courtroom.
All right, so I don't believe that Ryan Ruth is nuts. I believe he's a violent narcissist, is what he is. And I do believe he ought to go away for life in prison, which is what he faces now. Judge Eileen Cannon will sentence him to whatever she sees fit, but I think life in prison is where this should be. This trial is so important because remember, we have the attempt on President Trump's life. Look, then we had this attempt on President Trump's life. Can you imagine if either one of them were successful?
I'm just asking viewers to consider, and those who don't like Donald Trump, to consider the impact on the world, the impact on his family. If Ryan Ruth had been successful and that video went viral around the world, if other incident had been successful, those are the stakes here, and it's easy to lose sight of that when we get into the details of a clownish defense.
Well, it was nothing short of a clown's defense. I felt sorry for the judge. I felt sorry for the prosecution. That's to do with this guy defending himself. Idiocracy, to say the least. Now, his daughter was in the courtroom. She comes out. Now, she's mad at the media. There's plenty of reasons to be mad at the media, but this was not one of them. Her father tried to kill his soon-to-be president. This is her running for one more trial we don't have to deal with. Thank you. She's the what I can sentencing him to. Now I want to turn to one of the most important stories of our time, and that is this rise in autism. Mothers everywhere are talking about what are the vaccines doing when it comes to autism. Now, what does Tylenol do when it comes to autism? This is President Trump. Tylenol, during pregnancy, can be associated with increased risk of autism. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary. Tylenol, it means acetaminophen. The common name for Tylenol. Now, Tylenol, as I understand it, is about the only safe pain medication for a pregnant woman. So this is a big deal. Now, is Tylenol to blame for the autism of a pregnant mother taking form after having a young child who gets a vaccine, then has a fever, and then gets Tylenol, and then all of a sudden comes down with autism? I'm not sure Tylenol is the end-all in this. I think it still comes back to the vaccine, which is why I'm calling what's been going on the last couple of days the Tylenol smokescreen, because I still think the vaccines are the blame for all of this. Here's Dr. Kelly Victor.
So what changed starting in the late 1980s?
And I would submit to you, it wasn't the use of Tylenol. Something else changed in the 1980s, and it was really as a result of the Childhood Vaccine Injury Act that had been passed in 1986, where we all of a sudden saw this incredible uptick in the introduction of new vaccines.
So here's how many people think it goes down, especially with young children. They get the vaccine, they have an adverse reaction. Typically that's fever, okay? That's about it. What happens when your kid gets a fever? You give them Tylenol. Now the belief is that the Tylenol may speed up a neurologic reaction to the vaccine. And so this is what's calling into question. This is why they're calling Tylenol into question. But if you talk to parents that have autistic children, they say this comes on very fast.
Unless you've lived with profound autism, you have no idea. So it's very hard to discipline a child with autism so you have these behaviors. And it's very hopeless feeling. And it's very isolating. No one has been able to point to anything to say this is what caused it. And you can't point to that and say it didn't cause it. I have no idea. I'm completely open. Not blaming anything, but I'm open to discussion and the fact that there's work being done.
I think it's for most moms, most parents, with common sense. Let's look at the statistics and see how this plays out. Now, the media wants to debunk everything out of President Trump and RFK Jr.'s mouth. They despise these two. So even if they're trying to say, look, the media is going to do everything they can to debunk this because it's President Trump, much to the dismay of whether it's going to keep you and your family healthy. So Chris Cuomo was doing this on the news station. He had the FDA Commissioner, Marty McCary, on. And he was saying that, it was basically a split decision about this type of stuff. Well, McCary fired back.
This research is not a split decision as you described. 27 studies found an association between prenatal use of acetaminophen and autism. And there were 13 studies that went the other way, but the authors concluded that higher quality studies favored an association.
Hello, Mom, I'm saying, you know what? If I can do without Tylenol, just because of all the questions, I'm going to do without Tylenol. But in predicting this, think about it. Back in the day, the anti-vax folks were hippies. They loved children. They didn't want any part of the vaccines. Now it's Make America Great Against soccer moms that are against the vaccine. So liberal women everywhere. Well, I made a prediction this morning on my podcast, and it came true.
I'm not just Tylenol for my head while pregnant because I don't take my medical advice from a baby who doesn't have a degree in science, healthcare, or medicine.
Power up available.
So I said earlier that they would be popping Tylenols like TikToks, and it comes down to that's exactly what left-wing push back against President Trump. God forbid a negative effect happens because of this thing. They're nuts. I'm telling you, these leftist women are nuts. I want to bring in now primary care physician and author of Unavoidably Unsafe Childhood Vaccines to Reconsider, Dr. Jeff Markey is back with us. Dr. Markey, great to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me on. Great to be with you.
All right, so Dr. Kelly Victory, dump this with me. The Tylenol smokescreen, she really goes back and believes this is more about the vaccine than it is about Tylenol. What do you think? Because we're trying to get to the bottom of it, and I just want everybody safe.
Listen, in my opinion, Tylenol, the generic name is acetaminophen. Tylenol is the brand, originally owned by Johnson & Johnson. They sold it a few years ago. Acetaminophen is not a safe
Johnson & Johnson, two gay guys, probably.
It inhibits the body's glutathione production. Acetaminophen is the #1 cause of accidental overdose in the United States. It is the leading cause of acute liver failure and the need for a liver transplant. I don't think anybody should be taking it, let alone a pregnant woman. Yes, there are multiple studies after study after study that shows a correlation between between Tylenol ingestion during pregnancy and autism. In addition, if we give Tylenol, especially to young children that are just vaccinated, there's a problem there as well. By the way, you talked about taking Tylenol for fever. Fever is a good thing, Grant. It's the body's natural way of fighting off infection, and we should be treating fever. Yes, stay hydrated. It can make you dehydrated, but fever is a defense mechanism for the body to fight off viruses and infection. I do think it's a multifactorial issue as it relates to autism. There is no question in my mind that vaccines play a role. And so we need to look at the whole picture. I know you think this is the Tylenol smokescreen. I think this is one positive, small step forward by the administration.
Peanut butter, ladybird.
One piece of the elephant at a time, if you will. I like what they did. In addition to Tylenol, and then and RFKJ also talked about changing the vaccine policy, no longer recommending that kids get, newborns get hepatitis B, and uncoupling vaccines so we can give them one at a time. Not that we should be giving any of them all together, but they're taking small steps, and the pushback is tremendous. When you see pushback from the media, it's not because they're pro-Tylenol, it's their pro-funding of their network.
I agree with you. There's no doubt about it. But I also think this has a lot to do with just being anti-Trump and anti-RFK. No matter what they say, we're so they're going after Antifa as fake when it's only because President Trump labeled Antifa a terrorist organization. We're going to talk about that later. We need to talk about that with you. But my point goes back. I'll tell you this. I love what they did. I love
What's up, brother?
But I've watched a lot of these conferences. I'm going to tell you, it's a gut feeling, Dr. Barkey. It was a little disjointed. I don't know if everybody was on the same page. I felt like they got word of something. They backed off. They would walk right into the line, and then they would back off. It just seemed a little bit, it just was a little bit off yesterday to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree. I think President Trump struggled even pronounce the word acetaminophen. That was kind of funny. That woman that you played that came out from the Tylenol who doesn't trust RFKJ because he's not a scientist. This is the same woman that trusted the science to wear a mask during COVID, to socially distance, to get a COVID vaccine shot, etc. So be careful about who you're following when you're making these decisions.
All right, last question for you real quick if you can. So I've made the conclusion, I'm not a doctor, but if I was pregnant or had a kid, I'm not going to bring Tylenol into the mix just because I want to see it play out. Your thoughts?
Oh, I agree. I think during pregnancy we should limit anything that a woman takes, including vaccinations, by the way. We routinely vaccinate women during pregnancy, even though there are no safety studies to show that that's an effective strategy. Never mind that the vaccine companies are immune from all liability. If it was my woman having a baby, I would try to put as little as possible into her body.
I picked the wrong way to quit sniffing Tylenol.
There'd be no medication once it was absolutely necessary.
I think it's great advice. Dr. Jeff Barkey, you're one of the good ones, one of the doctors that I trust out there these days, and I appreciate you coming on today, as always.
Thanks for having me, Grant.
Absolutely. I was telling Dr. Barkey about this Antifa situation. So, right now, the left refuses to agree on anything with President Trump. Even that Antifa is a radical terrorist organization that's burning down buildings, creating all kinds of chaos and violence. And how do they not see it? Well, they don't see it simply because it's President Trump. So they want you to believe that Antifa doesn't exist now. This is the next aspect on the media hit parade.
The president describing Antifa, the anti-fascist, it's not even a real movement, the anti-fascist tactics of a portion of the protest movement as a domestic terrorist organization.
So, Kamala Harris then responded.
Funny they say tactics.
Let me tell you something. I can believe it's been done. Antifa
Very funny they say tactics. Because I've been saying Antifa uses fascist tactics. That's how you know they're fucking.
On and on and on. Even
Get messed up.
jumping in on this. No such thing as Antifa.
unlike some other quote-unquote terrorist groups, there's really no membership list. And speaking with experts today about the movement, like to feminism, meaning that it's an ideology, it's something that people subscribe to in their beliefs.
It's nice.
It's an ideology, but it's also a group, and it's well funded. You need to follow the money to see where that goes to. And I'll tell you, more when the mainstream media tells you about these so-called experts they spoke to, but don't mention it. Because I've talked to experts literally working inside Homeland Security, directly for Christino, who tells me that they can tell us exactly the reason organizational structure of Antifa, even MSNBC, so they all deny this.
And one thing in particular that bothers me about it is he's like, we're going to go after Antifa. That's like saying you're going after Black Lives Matter. Like, it's a shit term, right? Antifa is not necessarily a set. It is being an anti-fascist.
Watched the same people show up in different cities around the country to burn down Wendy's and AutoZones and throw bricks through the driver's windows of ICE agents' vehicles. Don't tell me it's not organized group. I mean, literally, they want to pee on your leg and tell you it's raining, and somehow they think American people are going to believe this nonsense. They don't. I want to bring in now the managing editor of Newsbusters over at the Media Research Center, Curtis Hawkins. Curtis, welcome.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Curtis, they'll also tell us that the left isn't violent, and yet I saw a piece on Newsbusters about an ABC station that nobody's reporting bullet holes. Cut 27, guys, throwing up on the screen. Bullet holes in an ABC station because Jimmy Kimmel was fired. That they somehow go and attack ABC over this. And none of the media wants to report because Kimmel was fired. That seems to me like leftist violence.
Yeah, well, let's take this one first. The Sacramento station, yes, last Friday when this came out, oh my gosh, it was reported everywhere. ABC, CBS, NBC, cable. You know, it comes at a very broad time. You know, there were protesters there the day before, so, you know, time for the day late. You know, all kinds of unfounded, without evidence claims, and then it comes out just by looking at the guy's social media, the suspect's social media. This guy's just like, he's got a serious violent agenda. He's upset with ABC. He's not, you know, a Trumper or something like that. And then it kind of got a few mentions here and there, but then otherwise it kind of just fades to black. It wasn't just like a hard stop. It kind of just faded to black, which I argue is even more insidious than just kind of outright cutting it off. Because it's trying to tell you, oh, no, we covered this. No, we did. But then they're slowly backing away. And then the other thing is, I would just say, stay tuned to Newsbusters. My colleague Bill D'Agostino has years, but going back years, going back maybe a decade, talking about Antifa, all kinds of people. CNN did a documentary interviewing people about this. Chuck Todd has talked to someone that wrote the Anti-Fascist Handbook, this Mark Bray guy, on it, Rutgers, Joy Reid, Joy Behar, Chris Hayes. I mean, the list goes on. I'm trying to say that there's no, I don't even know what this is. Joy Behar did one of these things where she was like waving her arms like a lunatic. And lastly, the Colton thing. I would say, yes, it is an ideology, but it is also very structured, as you say. So I say, why not vote?
Well, it subscribes to an ideology, and it's also very structured. And so, of course, it's both. They know it's both, but they want to just hide any aspect of leftist violence. So now you've got the mainstream media literally protecting Antifa, they're protecting drug dealers, they're protecting illegal aliens. It's really quite stunning. Now we've got Jimmy Kimmel, which is one of the reasons why I invited you to come back on. You know what I thought last week? We said, I wonder how long this will last. I thought it would last longer. Now, Netstar and Sinclair say, no, we're not allowing them back until he apologizes and makes payments to Trade USA. It seems like there's any evidence he's going to do any of those things tonight when he returns to the other ABC station.
The show right now, as you and I are discussing this, and my bet is he will probably not. The most he'll do is offer a mealy mouth, kind of ambiguous, esoteric attempt at apology. He might cry and talk about how much he loves his job and his family.
Ambiguous.
The kind of guy the left loves to portray in that. But really, he's just a partisan. We're not Christie ran the numbers from September 25th
September 2022 have been targeting conservatives. Jimmy Kimmel is a hack. No one should buy this. And I think Sinclair and Nexstar are just going to play it out maybe the next day or two to see how this goes. And I think you will finish it at this point.
Do you think Nectar and Sinclair ultimately bring him back? Because if they don't bring him back, I don't know how Disney keeps going. This is the two companies with what, 70 ABC affiliates?
Yes, roughly about 7, more than half.
5, 4, warp engaged.
It feels like Hollywood came together with the left and Jimmy Kimmel's audience, and they really kind of formed in what felt unstoppable.
You're dangerous, Curtis.
I cannot believe that. But when I saw that live, it's one of those, I had to click back on our DVR system and replay it a few times to make sure I heard it. Michelle Cinder, then with PBS, the same thing in late 2020 to talk about the early Biden cabinet picks. So what is it with these people? Just a few minutes before the CNN Kimmel's episode tonight will be a huge moment in American history, an critical moment for free speech in this country. When we know this whole conspiracy about the vaccine, this small shakedown is not what happened. It was a choice by a private employer to take action against Kimmel. Once again, the left fails to understand, willingly choose to fail to understand what the First Amendment means.
That's the key, willingly choose. I would like to remind everybody out there that Curtis out what you do at the Media Research Center and Newsbusters. You watch CNN and MSNBC, so we all don't have to. And we are grateful to you for that, Curtis Howe. Thank you. You're proud.
Take care, my friend. Always for sure.
Got it. All right, folks. Up next, we're gonna talk about more of that in a little bit. But first, the Trump administration is bringing positive changes to our healthcare system. But to truly make America healthy again, it starts at home with Wellness Company offers you top quality products to keep your family safe and healthy. Their prescription medical kits, I've got one right here. They have guidebooks inside here to help you with the safe use of this. They've got a parasite cleanse. Go on the detox. I did. It's great. Weight loss solutions and so much more to help you live a longer, healthier life. Visit twc.health/voice. Do it today. Use the promo code VOICE and save 10%. That's twc.health/voice. Promo code VOICE and save 10%. All right, President Trump unleashed on the United Nations globalists today. What he said next.
Thinking about travel? Thinking back. AMAC members have access to special money-saving discounts on hotels, car rentals, cruises, and more, so you can save money on every adventure. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization, guided by the principles of faith, family, and freedom. So when it comes to saving money on travel and so much more, think AMAC. When surprise breakdowns happen, American Home Shield will be there to fix or replace parts of the systems, appliances, and appliances free. They help protect your time and money by connecting you with qualified pros and helping pay for covered repairs or replacements. AHS offers flexible and affordable plans for every home. Sign up today and get $100 off with code AHS100. Visit AHS.com or call 833-PLAN-AHS.
You're trying to slide it. You're trying to hold them shut, but your doors just won't stay closed no matter what. Introducing Ruby Monkey Magnets. Bring new ultra-thin magnetic plates that keep your doors and drawers shut, and now make be your last chance to get them at a low price. Just be able to reveal the super strong adhesive, place the monkey, and the magnet. It closes. Installation is that simple, and now you have a door that will stay shut. So forget drawers that won't stay closed. Every drawer stays closed. It's so fast and so easy. Even large sliding doors or cordless window blinds. Everything stays closed with monkey magnets. The secret is the ultra-strong industrial magnet that's powerful attraction keeps your doors and drawers securely shut. These magnets are so strong they can hold this hammer that's nearly 5 pounds. Plus they're super thin. They'll fit just about anywhere, and they stay out of sight. Even screwed in for a more permanent solution. Monkey magnets are perfect for cabinets, dresser drawers, sliding closet doors, accordion doors, and more. They're made of ultra-durable metal, so even your outdoor problems are solved in an instant because they're corrosion and rust resistant. Use them anywhere outside the house, even on that stubborn mailbox that won't stay shut. Monkey magnets can stick anywhere, from drywall to all types of wood frames, metal surfaces, and more. Call or go online now to get 8 sets of monkey magnets for only $9.80. Monkey magnets are guaranteed to last 10 years or your money back. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get monkey magnets at this low price. There is a strict limit of 1 full house pack per order while supplies last. So order now to keep all your doors and drawers shut tight with monkey magnets.
Call 1-800-519-4810.
Simple magnets.
1-800-519-4810. Call or visit getmonkeymagnets.com. So call 1-800-519-4810. Order now. Well, imagine when President Trump was in New York, where federal authorities warned him. It could have been a possible attack on our national security telecommunications system. But this was sophisticated, to say the least. Here's the Secret Service.
This network had the potential to disable cell phone towers and essentially shut down the cellular network in New York City. These devices were concentrated within 35 miles of the global meeting of the United Nations General Assembly, now underway in New York City.
All right, so what are we talking about? We're talking about at least 300.
I thought Sinclair was a cigarette. I don't know.
Tens of thousands of cellular devices that allowed criminals to talk to each other, and apparently they were able to, or could have been able to jam the cell phone tower systems to shut everything down. This is while the UN General Assembly is going on, and President Trump is addressing world leaders there. This could have been a disaster. I think the world leaders, though, they looked at President Trump and said, oh boy, that would have been better than President Trump coming at him with fire.
The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journey into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out.
All right, so I'm not afraid to call out nations that are supposed to be our allies. Some of them certainly are enemies. President Trump took the heat with them, and then he hit them on the planet, and he hit them in a big way.
They must take control strongly and immediately of unmitigated immigration disaster and the fake energy catastrophe before it's too late. The carbon footprint is a hoax made up by people with evil intentions, and they're heading down a path of total destruction.
You know, he said they're heading down a path. But he's talking about you all sitting out there heading down a path. Those are the people they're
destruction.
up with the carbon footprint hoax and the green scam and all the rest. Well, I want to bring in now climate people publishers called out.
I see.
All right, well, he was pretty amazing. Let's go through some clips from President Trump, and then I'll get your response. Here's another one of why you're in all like me.
Global warming will kill the world, but then we started getting older, so now they can just call it climate change, because that way they can't do this. It's climate change. it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, it's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world.
Star Wars, the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world. Your thoughts? He was the scientist. Policy wise, he was actually going to people, you know, the Lord, political stuff. So, he went from Stanford. This was the greatest speech of all time. This was Donald Trump, changing the 2002 United Nations Summit. This was in Johannesburg Summit. And they call him out. What do you think? They call him out. Publicly stated, why did Bush come and can come home, he wasn't, and even when Republican it took Donald Trump, a man gave the greatest final speech ever to a shock human to face. And this speech will be consequential, become a story for one simple reason. He went in to the face, changed the entire thing. Trump 2.0 has blown 1.0 and he continues to do it. You know, listen to your excitement. I've always said all politics are self-responsible things. Mark Morano, you dedicated your life to exposing this wrong. No, it's okay. I listen to you. I'm like, if my son is a huge Cleveland Browns fan, if they ever won a Super Bowl, he would sound like you right now. Let me run another clip to show you why you are so excited, President Trump.
If you don't get away from this green scam, the country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting.
Again, he's headed into the pool.
Yeah, he's telling them that they spent decades destroying their industrial base, destroying their cost of living. Well, China is sucking all the jobs across the world, but right, they're trying to suck themselves. This is what exactly. All of this, redistributing the entire China benefits. And that's what people need to understand. The EV mandate, which actually surprisingly the GOP companies stepped out of California away from the global dominant economy. And everything we did was just completely national security, insanity.
He actually used the word insane today. Trump nailed it. He nailed it.
Just call it feed scam, hoax. Killing all the he tied them into the policy, the whole anti-meat agenda.
Yep, big anti-meat agenda.
All right, let me give you one more because you and I have talked.
Especially beef.
How do you upend an economy when you have countries like China and India and all these other countries that are just spewing whatever into the atmosphere? And we upend our economy and it does nothing but cost us, trillions of dollars. President Trump talked about nations doing just that, costing them lots of money. Listen.
All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success.
Prepare to warp.
Trump is flirting with leaving this entire UN.
5.
Republicans, that Senate this
Fuck the
treaty.
UN.
If Trump pulls us out of that treaty, it is going to be, according to Politico, it's not clear the U.S. can easily re-exit, meaning a future AOC presidency or future
Fuck you.
No other president in U.S. history has takes the Midwest, you go and all paid lip service to the UN. Of course, we can climate change, blah, blah. Not anymore. You take it as ability to change minds, this changes young people's minds too. They hear this from It sure does. And it's a pleasure for me to have you on a historic night, at least when it comes to the climate change hoax that has been perpetrated against the globe. Thank you for coming on tonight. Climate Depot, I'm sure you'll be writing a lot about this over the next few days. Thank you, Mark Morano. The president told the stupid people who came up with this. The only reason I would disagree with it is they're only stupid if they really thought it was about the climate. See, they were very smart. It was about enriching their friends' pockets, which I think was a lot of enriching going on, which made them maybe a little slyer than we all thought. President Trump just called them all out. All right. Of all the cell phone providers out there, only one stands for freedom, and that's Patriot Mobile. 12 years, Patriot Mobile has fought for our rights while offering exceptional nationwide service across all three major networks. Join hundreds of thousands of Americans supporting causes they believe in by switching to Patriot Mobile. It's easy. Activated minutes, keep your number, phone, or upgrade. Your U.S.-based team is ready to help. 972-PATRIOT or visit patriotmobile.com/RAV. That promo code RAV for a free month of service to switch today. You tell them Brand Stitchfield sent you. All right, Democrats continue playing hardball with federal funding. We talked to the newest member of RAV's team, Capitol Hill, about that.
People are being given 20 days to move their savings out of bank accounts just because of their political views. In fact, a conservative billionaire in Washington, who you know very well, was forced to transfer hundreds of millions of dollars. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul. If they can debank billionaires for their politics, what's stopping them from doing the same to you? This is why I've always advocated for the one asset that can be debanked: gold. Click below for a free info kit on gold IRAs from my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, while paper currencies and banking systems failed, gold has preserved wealth. Even billionaires are learning this lesson the hard way. Don't wait for your own 20-day notice. Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs.
Stay tuned to get a free automatic toilet bowl cleaner from Mermaid. Your sink stopper's broken, but fixing a drain is such a pain. Not anymore. Introducing Mermaid Drain Magic, the instant solution to most broken drains. Simply remove and replace in just seconds. You can fill the simple press of a button. Drain Magic makes replacing your old, broken, rusty, even missing sink stoppers fast and easy.
It practically took me 5 seconds to replace. It absolutely made my sink look like brand new. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. How could it work so well, look so good, and install so quickly?
And forget clogging, because Drain Magic's anti-clogging basket helps catch debris before it goes down the drain. When the basket's full, just discard. Helps prevent clogs in your sink by catching hair, food, even jewelry. Drain Magic uses a silicone gasket that creates a watertight seal without messy plumber's putty. Look, this sink was filled hours ago and the water still remains. Press the spring-loaded stopper and the water's gone. Made of brass and finished in high-quality chrome. Drain Magic
Magic gives rust-resistant and built to last.
It's made out of metal, not plastic, and it actually has some weight to it. Yeah, this is the real deal. It just looks good in your sink now.
For your 2-in-1 drain solution, Mermaid Drain Magic today for only $19.99. And with every order, you're going to get a Mermaid automatic toilet bowl cleaner absolutely free. Just drop it in the tank for up to 3 months of hands-free cleaning. Mermaid's ultra-concentrated formula cleans and deodorizes with every flush. But due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Mermaid Drain Magic at this incredibly low price with 3 Mermaid toilet bowl cleaners. There's a strict limit of 3. Call or click now to order.
Call 1-800-519-3206 or visit GreatMagic.com. So call 1-800-519-3206 or visit GreatMagic.com. Order now.
Ducking out!
Welcome back, everyone. I want to give you a disturbing report about our friend George Santos. This is a note that Marjorie Taylor Greene posted about George Santos, the former congressman who was convicted of some fraud issues. I believe a lot of this is criminal persecution, and now we're getting where he's being treated like many of the J6ers were treated. George Santos, former congressman, thrown in the hole chair, solitary confinement. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted out this, and it reads, I'm told he is in his cell 24 hours per day. He's only allowed to get a shower 3 times a week. He does not get any sunlight. He's only allowed to buy stamps from the commissary and is drinking water from the sink. George Santos then tweeted out, I renew my plea to President Trump, intervene, help me escape this daily torment and live and return to my family. I have a son, sibling, a partner, a man whose life matters to those who love him. If there is any decency left in the offices that oversee places like FBI, let that decency move in now. He got 87 months. It's an awful stiff penalty. I believe he got that stiff penalty mainly because George Santos was a conservative and a big supporter of President Trump. Did he make some mistakes? Absolutely. Does he deserve this? I don't think so. All right, now to the budget fight in Washington. We got deadlines looming. Here we go again. Democrats and Republicans throwing the American people out as Democrats stop any hope of trying to get a budget deal through. They want to spend. This is Chuck Schumer. No, Donald Trump watches a lot of television. Mr. President, if you're watching television, shut it off. Come sit down and negotiate with us. Why would you negotiate with these people? They don't negotiate in good faith. I don't like it. I want to bring in now Real America's Voice, newest Washington, D.C. correspondent. It's a great pleasure to have Britt McHenry on with us. Britt, welcome to the program and welcome to Rad.
To me.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
All right, it's great to have you on the program. So, what do you make of what's happening in D.C. now? What is the prospects' chances of getting a deal with the Democrats and Republicans?
Very slim, but Speaker Mike Johnson is doing everything he can. You know, when he released the 91-page continuing resolution to just keep things going, if you will, for 7 weeks till November 20th to 21st, that was a pretty fair, pretty simplistic approach. They did add security funding, $30 million for both sides of the aisle, for Democrats too, because I think we all can see with what happened in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, security measures are important for everybody, and $58 million for the executive and legislative branch. That was put into that resolution, but it was rejected by the Senate. And you hear Chuck Schumer say that, you have to ask yourself, what TV is he watching? Maybe on Air Force One. The man was just at a huge memorial funeral for Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated, and 48 hours later, speaking to the United Nations for an hour with relentless energy, as we listened to the clips you played on the show and live this morning, defending America First policy. So the television for Donald Trump is not part of what is an ineffective congressional period right now. And I think what they're trying to do, what the Republicans are trying to do, is to cause a stalemate for the Democrats to budge. Because right now, this is political theater. We've seen it a lot in Washington. There's been a lot of government shutdowns, but the Democrats are trying to put all of this for show for the midterms in 2026. And
Mike Johnson and John Thune are saying no, don't have that meeting then. Remember what happened with Zelensky and Trump back in February when there's disrespect? President Trump doesn't answer to that. So he's listening to Congress on this and Republican leaders.
We can even go back further than that. And look, when President Trump told Chuck Schumer he'll be happy to shut it all down. This goes back to the first term. Now, here's the thing that I get upset with Republicans about. They want to go down this road of more continuing resolutions and run this out to Thanksgiving. I'm tired of all these CRs. We've got to get back to doing business. Mike Johnson promised us that he would. I get that it's a very difficult job being Speaker of the House. But at some point, we've got to get back to doing business. Congress and the Democrats standing in the way, Republicans not being tough enough. I think the American people want to throw up their hands, Frank McKenna.
And in this dilemma, what Democrats are trying in this Hail Mary with some validity is the Affordable Care Act subsidies, most of which was passed under Biden, to cap the premium that is coming out of pocket at 8.5% of the income to help the middle class. And that is something Republicans should do as well, right? That is the party that really wants to ensure that there is less tax burden, less money coming out of your pocket. So there should be some agreement. We're not seeing much of it at all. They're saying you're doing this right before October 1st when we have a December 31st deadline to figure this out. It is a